Alrighty, welcome back. Another episode of Post-Fades and Cheesesteaks, episode 86. Hot off the heels of a Eagles victory in Denver. How about that?
It feels great. Honestly, this is by far the best game all season. This is the best one.
I will say we now have a problem though.
Okay.
People around the area, Philly and talk radio and all that, and you know what they're starting to, what word they're starting to use the P word.
We were definitely going to get into this. I didn't know how quickly we were going to get into this.
We got to start right off with it.
I think we're in a good spot. I'm one of those people that are hopping on the bandwagon. I got a couple things to back me up here. So hear me out.
Okay.
Look at this team. Well, we can agree this team has changed. They've grown from coaching staff and players.
Absolutely.
They've grown.
Yeah.
Last 3 weeks, you bushwhacked a terrible team in the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
You played a very close game, literally came down to a field goal at the end against the Chargers. Mm-hmm. And then you had your most impressive win by far all season against the Broncos this past week. They look better. And then look at the way the playoffs are going to set up. There's 7 teams this year, and the NFC is top heavy. If you give the first 5 seeds to, I think we know the first top 5 seeds in whatever order it's going to be, these 5 teams are making it between the Packers, Cowboys, Cardinals, Rams, and Buccaneers. Mm-hmm. After that, you could tell me, I would say anyone in the NFC is outside of the Lions has a chance at those last 2 spots. There is no one else after those top 5 that scare me. The Eagles have an extremely easy schedule going forward.
Yeah.
The Saints game is going to prove a lot, but I feel good. I feel good where we are. I'm getting into the hoopla. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
So the P word is the playoffs. First of all, my problem is when we did our picks the last episode, I said because I was like, I'm going to pick the Eagles to beat Denver. If they lose, I'm going to have them lose the rest of pick them to lose the rest of the games.
If they win, tough, if we lost this game, yeah.
If they win, I'm going to pick them to win the rest of the games. Because I think that this was a very important game to find out where they are in this season so far. And I will say, I was the one, pumping the brakes early about Sirianni, but after week 6, 7, I was like, okay, well, maybe he's not going to develop because it was taking too long. And now we're starting to see growth. We're starting to see change. I don't know if the reins were let off him a little bit from upper management, or if this is just him just starting new different, because he literally said in his press conference, it's good to be able to establish a run and be able to be good at it because it takes a load off of Jalen and lets him work better. I was like, what? Really? Yeah, you're catering to Jalen's skills now because you want to run the ball instead of having him throw 50 times a game? That's good. Round of applause. You're so smart.
I will say, everyone killed him after that press conference when he first got hired, where it seemed like he had literally no idea what he was doing or anything about this team when he came in. The first couple of weeks when he had this game plan that didn't make sense for the players you had, it kind of seemed like he really had no idea anything about this team before he came in. But give him a lot of credit. This offense looks a lot better. We're run heavy and we're dominant. Jalen Hurts played really well. I thought he had a great command on the offense. He made a couple of really nice plays. Devontae Smith continues to break out now. He had a great touchdown catch, 2 on the game, but that one where he went up on Surtain was beautiful. Great ball, and Smith made an even better catch. It was beautiful. Everything about the first half on offense was beautiful. You were running the ball down their throat. They couldn't stop you running the ball at all. Yeah. Your offensive line was mauling them. Jalen Hurts, he looked comfortable too. He wasn't just scrambling because, he just wanted to get out of there or didn't know what to do with it. He was reading the field, reading down his options, wasn't there, and he was tucking it and he was going. He was making adjustments at the line. It looks like Sirianni and Hurts are clicking now. They're on the same page. Sirianni is an offense that plays to his strengths, and Hurts is developing in the system. It's really nice to see. There was a lot of positive to take from it. He should have had 3 touchdowns in the first half. I think the best ball he had was the one to Watkins. He
had the bread basket open and he just went through his hands.
I got to be honest. The most heartbreaking moment in sports, just casual play to play thing, is just beautiful balls just being dropped. When they're there, right there, it kills you. It crushes you. with Jalen Hurts in particular, man, we didn't see a lot of those beautiful balls. That might have been the best throw he's had all season, and it just was there and on the ground.
Quez was just surprised that it was right on the money, and he was like, "Oh shit, it hit my hands."
It was tough.
Yeah, I think like the two of them together, Sirianni and Jalen, their development has been the past few weeks. We've seen a lot of good stuff out of them. Jalen in particular, I mean, I think his throws are more under control. He is hitting some of these deep. I mean, there were definitely I saw at least one or two underthrown balls against Denver. But listen, if that's going to be part of his game and he's still going to be phenomenal the rest of his 30 passes, then I'll take that every day. Like I saw, I mean, I know Russell Wilson doesn't really have a line out in Seattle, and he was coming off a finger injury in his first game back, but he didn't look good at all. I think Jalen Hurts had a far superior game than Russell Wilson, and they're very similar build style. Obviously, Russ has a huge cannon.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not. I mean, listen, he had a nice game. We're not putting him and Russell Wilson in the same sentence yet. We're not there yet.
No, I'm saying for an example. I'm not saying that he is Russell Wilson. I'm saying just taking a look at like what he was able to do when he has a really great game versus, I'm saying we criticize him so much on so many little things, but then there's star athletes who have bad games and they often get, all right, next game he'll bounce back. I'm sure Jalen will have a bad game. I mean, he had a couple rougher games, but he was still, I mean, we're third in the NFL in rushing, and he's a huge part of that. So,
it's great. And you're just rolling out a different stable of running backs over and over again.
Which is hilarious because like they didn't run the ball the first half of the season at all. And now they're third in the league behind Baltimore, who only runs the ball really, and Cleveland, who also mostly runs the ball. So it's been this is definitely their identity. I think I heard a lot of ridiculous things on sports radio about how Miles Sanders can come back. Well, he should be the third string running back. No.
Yeah, I don't.
Austin Scott's had a nice little run, but he is like, you can only get away with that for so long. Like Miles and Jordan is how it was supposed to be. This is how it was. It was either last year or the year before. It might have been Sanders' rookie year, but him and Sanders and Howard split carries the 1 year until Howard got hurt, and they were a really nice compliment to each other because Howard just running right through the middle. He gets 6-7 yards every time, whereas you can throw Sanders off an off tackle or a sweep or whatever, and he gets 7-8 yards a carry. So. And Sanders is great in the between the tackles too, not to take that away from him.
Yeah, I will never understand the logic of arguably your best skill player on the team is coming back, and that's going to be a negative, or he's not going to be a part. Like what?
I understand the whole rhythm thing. Like, oh well, these guys are gelling really well. Like you don't want to mess up their mojo. Like, yes, but it's the offensive line that's really like the offensive line. We always knew they were great at run blocking, but like they have been phenomenal run blocking. Like the one Boston Scott hole, like you and I could have ran through that and gotten 20 yards. Like they cleared the fucking Red Sea,
it's a great thing to see. I mean, Miles Sanders, like, did Miles Sanders really play bad before he got hurt, or was he just not getting the ball? I was
averaging like 6 yards a carry. They just weren't giving him the ball. Yeah. Imagine
off of 2 carries a game. I'm excited to see Sanders come back to us. I don't understand the logic. Oh, he's going to throw up the rhythm right this. The league is going to a running back committee kind of approach. Throw in arguably your best running back and see what happens. I'm excited to see him come back. And you brought up the offensive line. I got to go back to one player in particular who's quickly becoming one of my favorite players on the team. One of my maybe I need to get a jersey for this guy because he's not going anywhere. And he faced so much criticism. We made this pick in the draft, and I never understood why, because the kid was a stud in college. He was a great leader. I loved his attitude. He was coming from an Alabama program, just produces offensive linemen. Landon Dickerson is a mauler.
Oh, yeah.
He started out rough because, listen, the guy tore his ACL in college. He didn't do a training camp. He was thrown right into the fire once Brooks got hurt. And he was playing out of position. He's a center in college. He is a mauler. Like he's incredible to watch. Him and Malata are forces. They are moving people all over the field.
Like that's the thing that like I have to think that they were someone was forcing the game plan to be centered around passing the ball whether it was they wanted to discover what kind of passer Jalen was, or that's just what they wanted to do. But you look at who was on the line, like Jason Kelsey, phenomenal offensive lineman, much better run blocker than pass blocker. Yeah. Mailata, huge, 6'8", 300 some pounds. Obviously, he's not going to have any trouble trying to run block people because all you do is go. There's a lot of skill involved, but essentially you're just pushing people forward, right?
My God, he's playing rugby. Let him go out on a screen pass and he'll be playing rugby. Just run down the field. It's like rugby all over again.
And Dickerson, his biggest strength coming out of college was his run blocking ability and his versatility, obviously being able to play center, guard, whatever.
Yeah, but he comes from an Alabama program that runs the ball all the time. And he was an awesome player.
They produce phenomenal receivers and running backs. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the guy's a stud.
And not even to mention, like, if your offensive line, let's say that they were struggling, what's the best thing to do? Run the ball, because I would argue most linemen can become better at run blocking than pass blocking, because it's a little easier. It doesn't demand as much on you. But I'm annoyed that it took them this long to figure it out, but I'm happy that they've stuck with it for 3-4 straight games now.
Yeah, looks like our identity.
They put up ridiculous numbers too.
It's great. And
I am curious to see how they play against the Saints, because the Saints have the best run D in the league. But the Broncos have had a very good defense all year, and they just did whatever. It was like watching the opposite of what happened to the Eagles in the beginning of the year, when every team would just run 8 yards on us all the time. That's literally what I'm seeing us do to other defenses. And against a good Denver defense, they just did whatever they wanted on the ground. So good signs. Good signs.
Things are really clicking. And going off the offensive line too, is I think this year was a big transition year for the offensive line. Obviously, Brooks got hurt again, and you have to assume this is probably it with Brooks. Kelsey, we're all waiting to see if he's going to retire or not. You had to think that you're going to be transitioning, and the offensive line's been your strength. But guys like Mailata, Dickerson, Jack Driscoll looks like he can be your starting guard going forward. And they played really well to make. Yeah, they played really well to make me think we are set for the future in the offensive line and in the trenches, which is great. I'm excited for the development I'm seeing. They're getting their identity. Going back to Hurts a little bit, this is what drove me crazy last year with Wentz, is he forgot football. He forgot how to play the game. He didn't know how to check at the line. He was scrambling when he should have got rid of the ball. He just made idiotic decisions all the time. Hurts, as he's getting more comfortable with this game plan, is getting more comfortable with how to run an offense. The guy's using his smarts. He's a veteran player. He's a smart player. He uses his legs when he needs to. He gets out of the pocket. He checks at the line. He looks like he's comfortable and he's getting it. And, someone that's been in the college he started many years in big time programs, played a lot of big games. He's showing that experience. And that's something I'm excited for. And I love it. And I hope they can keep building on it. Now, we hit on a lot of the good stuff. I did have some negatives to take away from the offense that worry me for next week. Okay. So I will bring this. So we can get to the defense after this, because I want to talk about it, kind of reflects, it moves into that. But it was like the tale of two different games with the offense. First half, great. Like I said, they should have had 3 passing touchdowns if Quez doesn't drop that ball. Second half, Denver made adjustments. They played a lot of man in the beginning and the first half, and Sirianni was smart enough to come up with a lot of crossing routes. You saw Devontae Smith was just running across the field and burning whoever was on him and getting open that way. Yeah, and they were having 4 guys in the line, and they were just running it down their throat with ease. Yeah. The second half, the Broncos made adjustments, and you saw them. They went to a zone-heavy scheme, and then they put 5 guys on the line and was taking away the run. They weren't nearly successful running the ball, and that zone defense was giving Hurts problems. Look at the first 2 drives of the second half. You had that near interception. We had 4 plays, and we had a punt it. Near interception when Smith went up and batted out of Surtain's hand. And then the next drive, when you got it back, Hurts then did throw the interception. 2 bad drives, and that offense looked really rough after the Broncos made the adjustments. And I kind of want to see what Sirianni was going to do. Ultimately, after the interception, you got the Darius Slay fumble return, which, I know it was, there was still time left and we were only up by 2 touchdowns, but that was the moment the game was over. Once Slay brought that fumble back, you felt the whole stadium just go silent. The Denver just pretty much rolled over at that point. But listen, everyone knows you're a run-heavy team now, and the Saints are a great run defense. If you don't think that they're going to put 5 guys on the line and take away the run, you're insane. This defense is good. They know what's working for you. They've seen it for 3 games now. Now they're going to try to take it away from them. Now they're going to want to make Hurts throw the ball. And I'm curious to see what happens, because those 2 drives when they went zone heavy before the Broncos rolled over, He did not look good. He should have thrown 2 picks. Smith went and saved him on the first one. But these are the adjustments. They're still young. They found something that works, and this is how the NFL works. You find something that works, then the defenses find ways to stop that, and then you adjust from there.
Yeah, and I mean, this isn't to say that we think the Eagles are all of a sudden like a great team. These world beaters. Like they have a lot of problems still, but they've been. We've like it's very visible the changes and like how they've adapted, how they've grown, and like I'm actually like I do think there is a shot there of the last wild card spot just based on who's still there because it's wide open. The whole NFL has been wide open. This is the strangest season I've ever seen.
Oh yeah.
We just had like 5 top teams lose. Do you know that was it? I forget what the number is, but this like the road teams are winning majority of the games. It used to always be home field advantage was a thing. The road teams have won more. I mean, even the Eagles are 4-2 on the road and 0-4 at home.
Yeah.
Road teams are the ones that are winning this year. So it's a strange season, but I mean, my boy Big Play Slay's having a phenomenal year.
Oh, that play was beautiful. That fumble return was beautiful.
Teddy Bridgewater just took he's like, you know what? I'll see y'all next week.
Yeah.
Like if he would have even like just try to grab him to slow him down, like that game was it was still a 1-score game. And then
that fumble recovery was it. You felt the whole game was done after that point. I could feel the energy. I wasn't even there, and I could feel the energy just leave.
Tell me if this is an accurate representation of your reaction watching that play. So Melvin Gordon rushes in, you're like, oh, it was a first down. And then you see the ball come out, you're like, oh, was that a fumble? Was he down? Who knows? And then you see Slay like kind of bobbing around. I was like, all right. Go down. No, what are you doing? Yeah. You dropped it. Okay, just lay on it. Oh, no. Why are you going backwards? What are you? Go. Like that. I was like, oh shit, what just happened? I texted you guys. I was like, what the fuck did I just witness? Like, does that count? Like,
it was the weirdest thing. I've never seen such a long, slow developing play. I don't understand how who managed to run that back for 82 yards or whatever.
No,
I don't know. Like that. I mean, it was a 4th and 1 play, so you could say, oh, maybe everyone's on the ground still. No, man, he dropped the ball, ran 10 yards backwards. Everyone should have been up and seen where he was going. That was beautiful, though. The defense, man, they really came up. I'll give Gannon credit because I thought they came out slow and didn't look great the first half, but it was really 2 total different things. Offense was great first half, stunk second half. Defense was great second half, stunk kind of in the first half. But listen, they came up big. They got the fumble recovery, obviously. The blocked field goal was beautiful.
Yeah.
And they made the plays you need. The second half, the defense pretty much sealed that game for you.
That's back-to-back weeks. The defense has obviously the Herbert thing was atrocious, but this is back-to-back weeks where in the red zone or on the scoring side of the field, like the defense is held up. Like they've made these teams work for it. Like Denver had to kick 2 field goals because we stuffed them on from the 20-yard line, and even we stopped the Chargers last week or 2 weeks ago, whatever, on 2 4th and downs or 4th and goals, and they're making progress. I think Ben don't break. I'm very happy that they're letting Davion Taylor get more and more snaps because he caused that fumble. He's very fast. They just need to get him, get that linebacker instinct instilled in him, and he'll be. I'm hoping he'll just turn out to be something special because he has the athleticism to be a solid linebacker. So, and hey, TJ Edwards is fucking hitting people. That's all you want out of your second linebacker. So,
I'll be honest. The stars of the defense were the linebackers. Jeez, Edwards has looked pretty good 2 weeks now.
Yeah, he's been solid.
Taylor's coming along. They were the stars. I mean, obviously Slay had the big play, but they were the ones that made all the plays. I was very impressed with how they played.
I do
defense.
Think,
all in all, great.
Yeah, I do think the line gets shit on a lot because they're supposed to be our best unit on the team. But I actually, even though they only had 1 sack, I think they pressured Bridgewater quite a bit. I think they played a much better game than they did against the Chargers. But this is why this Saints game is. But like they can lose this game, still look good, and then end up whatever making the playoffs, whatever. But I think it's important it's a great measuring stick, just like the Denver game was a great measuring stick, because you're going to it's basically going to be who's better between our offense and their defense. Who's going to make the bigger play? And I actually think it's going to be a really close game too. The Saints offense, I don't know if Kamara's going to play, but I mean, Mark Ingram's, he doesn't scare me. He is still
no. Kamara is that offense. Kamara is the offense, especially
if Kamara's
with
out.
Simeon.
If Kamara's out, I could see the Eagles pulling away and like getting a little 10-point cushion in the end. But if Kamara plays, it's going to be a back and forth grind. Yeah, we'll see. But
hey, I mean, listen, you're going to need the defense to come up big for you. The defense played great. They had the fumble recovery, block field goal. They forced 4 3-and-outs. Yeah. That's really a hell of a game they played. They are going to have to play strong against the Saints, and they should. Trevor Siemian should not scare you. Teddy Bridgewater shouldn't scare you either, but Trevor Siemian should not. Kamara plays completely different because he's the offense.
Yeah.
But they're going to have to show up and play well. And, I think the offense is going to be in for a tough game because the Saints' run defense is no joke, and that we've now established ourselves as a running team. And listen, the adjustments the Broncos made are definitely something the Saints are going to look at, and they're going to play that. They're going to put 5 linemen on the line of scrimmage to prevent the run, and I would assume they're going to probably go zone heavy and try to get parts to pass the ball on you and see what happens. So it's going to be tough, but you know what? This Broncos win has got you in the playoff mood. It's got me in the playoff mood, and you know what? Now that we're in the playoff mood, I'd really like to see them beat the Saints. I would have never thought we had a chance up until seeing them win this Broncos game, because this Broncos game was by far the most impressive game. No one was impressed when we beat the Panthers. Everyone expected you to beat the Lions. That was nothing really got us excited. The Falcons are trash. So this was the one game where you won and you actually feel really good, where you feel like you can talk playoffs. And honestly, right now, everyone outside of the Lions are in on those last 2 wild card spots. You pretty much have 3-win teams. The Giants, you could say, make an argument. Every team in the NFC outside of the Lions have a chance at those last 2 wild card spots. It's going to be interesting. But you know what? The Saints game is going to tell you a lot. Because if you can beat the Saints after you've beaten the Broncos, that is going to bring a lot of momentum. Your schedule gets super easy and you feel really good. You lose to the Saints, then we got to see, man. Are we it depends on how it looks, but are we more like the team that's going to lose those close games like we did against the Chargers, or are we a team that's going to be able to pull them out like we did against the Broncos?
We will see.
It's tough, but hey, optimism. I haven't felt this good going into a game all season.
Yeah, I will say, based on how the first few weeks started, I did think we would have a miserable year. But I'm glad that we are having positive discussions. So
yeah, listen, it's going to be a tough matchup. I think Hurts is going to have to pass the ball and make plays, but Sanders is probably going to play. Hopefully Dallas Goedert's healthy. You get your full stable of skill players and see what happens. You've been banged up a little bit with these skill players. If you get them all out there, let's get them out there, make them plays. Sirianni's got to be creative because this defense is no joke. The Saints have a legit defense, especially against the run. So we'll see what happens.
Well, believe it or not, there were other games besides the Eagles and Broncos.
You say.
So week 10, we had the week 10. We had the Dolphins surprise beat the Ravens on Thursday Night Football.
I hate that.
Lamar looked terrible. He always has games like that where he just looks like he doesn't even belong in the league, and then he comes out next week and plays like an MVP. But
those Thursday night, man, you get those weird games every once in a while on Thursday.
Yeah, we need the Dolphins to lose. We want that high draft pick. But Titans beat the Saints 23-21. Still keep rolling without Derrick Henry. It's impressive.
It is. Matt Cribbles coaching his ass off. He's got my coach of the year vote right now.
All right. Bills return to form, destroyed the Jets 45-17. I think the Mike White hype is done because he threw 4 interceptions. So
you know what? Last week was the upset week. This was a get right week. And the Bills got right. There's a couple teams that got right after this week.
There was also a lot of upsets.
Yeah.
I picked the Lions to get their first win, and they fucking tied.
Can I just say one thing? Because I gotta say, I'm gonna clear the air right now. I could have made the whole entire dud list from that game. That was one of the worst football games I've ever seen with my own eyes. Just like to wrap your mind around some of the statistics. Jared Goff played an entire overtime and still only managed 114 yards. Deontay Johnson had 2 offensive passing interferences and fumbled the ball in overtime. Pat Freiermuth also fumbled the ball in overtime, and somehow they didn't lose. They fumbled the ball twice in overtime and didn't lose. And then you have this kicker for the Lions, Santosa or whatever the hell the guy's name, about to win the game. My guy, man, you fell down? Like, what are we doing? I think he missed an extra point too. I tell you, that was one of the worst football games I've ever watched. That hurt me. It hurt me to watch that game.
Oh, it hurt me to watch Hawkinson go 5 fucking quarters and not get a single point in fantasy.
I can't. In a game that goes in overtime and your best player doesn't even touch the ball, I don't understand what I was watching. That game hurt me to watch. That, like I said, the whole dud list could have been that game, but I couldn't choose between them. There were so many bad performances. It was disgusting.
I knew Jared Goff was not a good quarterback, but wow, like I guess the Rams really were hiding shit because he's terrible.
I mean, you got to give him some credit. The Lions are a really bad team. I like the coach. They fight. Yeah,
I like Campbell,
fight.
But
this team stinks. Name me a wide receiver on the Lions. This team stinks.
Yeah, I mean, Hawkinson and Swift are both really phenomenal young players, but beyond that, it's pretty rough. And the fact that the Lions kicker, like, what was it, a 40-yard field goal? Man. Like, he didn't even he didn't even it wasn't even wide right or hit the post, right? It just didn't have enough leg. It just didn't make it.
Slipped. Dude, you talk about not stepping up in the big moment. Like, at least, I'd feel a little bit better if you just went wide right or something. At least you got it to the goalpost. You fell and didn't even do anything.
What is that? I feel like that would have been on America's Funniest Home Videos back in the day.
Oh, jeez, that game just hurt my eyes. It hurt my eyes.
Anyways, Carson Wentz and his Colts beat the Jaguars. Hey, give the Jaguars credit. They've been playing teams pretty tough. Like, they only lost 23-17. Like, they're putting up some fights. So that's a good sign for them.
Their young team growing. Lawrence is getting better. I mean, Urban's, showing a little more spunk. Their young team growing.
So the Jaguars lost, one of the youngest teams in the league. And one of the oldest teams in the league, the Buccaneers, also lost to Washington. And I'm so mad I didn't just go with my gut and pick Washington. I was like, nah, I got to be smart here. Buccaneers off a bye. They're not going to lose to Heineke.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. The offense couldn't do anything. Brady's just out of sorts.
They have quite a few injuries. Their defense is just terrible right now. Brady's is not Brady.
Brady looks off. He looks really off.
He's throwing interceptions a lot. He looks like Pat Mahomes in the beginning of the season, throwing interceptions left and right.
I don't really know what's going on with them.
And the power of Tom Brady, in case you forget how powerful he is, when he goes to a press conference, a post-game conference after a loss, and the first thing that comes out of his mouth, he says, make it quick, and then answers like one or two questions. After 58 seconds, he just walks away. I was like, you gotta you have to be named Tom Brady to have balls and do that. Like,
I mean, Belichick's Belichick's been pretty much doing it his entire career. So I think Tom's just like, I'm gonna take a page out of his book.
Tom, for as phenomenal as Tom is, and is, he'll obviously will go down as the greatest quarterback of all time. Probably will hold the most Super Bowl rings as a quarterback too. He is such a sore loser, man. Like,
that's how you become.
I get that you hate losing, but like, have some dignity, for Christ. Like, he didn't even shake Nick Foles' hand when they lost the Super Bowl. He just ran off the field like a little baby.
That's that competitiveness is what makes him great, though. But hey,
I guess so.
Poor Washington, they get the biggest win of their season and also lose Chase Young for the rest of the year. But still managed to win.
That sucks. Yeah. So we had that upset, and then we had two fucking blowouts, neither of which I saw coming. First of all, that we had the Patriots won 45-7 over the Browns. The Browns went from my AFC, championship game, Super Bowl contender to like, they might not even make the fucking playoffs at this point. I mean, granted, they have a lot of injuries, but they don't look good right now at all. And meanwhile, the Patriots have won 4 straight. They look Mac's really looking good. Their defense is strong. Yeah.
I'm not writing out the Browns yet because let's be honest, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are more important than Baker Mayfield.
Oh, they both been out. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the one team where the running back's more important than the quarterback. Baker looks terrible. He's injured. He honestly, get Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt back, and I think Case Keenum can get him to the playoffs. The Browns just need to get them guys back, and they'll be okay. But the Patriots are legit. I'm all on Mac Jones and that defense. Belichick's got them going.
The other blowout was the Cowboys had a get-right game against the Falcons. They won 43-3.
Yeah, that was a get-right game if they ever needed one.
It was like 26-3 at halftime, and then they just piled on the points.
Yeah.
They I still think they'll fold in the playoffs, but they look pretty decent so far. They have the best balance, I think, in the league from what I saw, like as far as passing and running. But another surprise, no Kyler Murray, no DeAndre Hopkins, but the Panthers and Cam Newton, who is back, fresh off eating a bowl of cereal the day before, apparently. Panthers beat the Cardinals 34-10. So Panthers are still in the wild card somehow after losing like 4 straight.
Listen, good for the Panthers. I mean, Cam comes back. I don't know how much he's got left, but listen, he scored 2 touchdowns right in the beginning, so you can't really have a better reduction. It's going to give him some life. The Cardinals, I'll let it go because their whole offense is hurt, but defensively, you do not want to see them giving up 34 points. I don't care who's hurt or whatever. That is not a good look.
No. The quote unquote greatest show on TV, according to Tim, the Vikings won 27-20 over the Chargers.
Did you watch that game? Were you disappointed? I'm just saying.
Well, I didn't watch the game, but
do you want to watch entertainment? Watch the Vikings, whoever they're playing. That was a great game.
Okay. Another surprise, Packers just shut out the Seahawks 17-0. I mean, Russ came back from, he was injured, came back, first time playing. That Seahawks team is not very good right now.
But hey, listen, give the credit to the Packers. The Packers defense in particular, because man, they are playing well. They gave up 0 points this week. They gave up 13 to the Chiefs the week before, 21 to the Cardinals, 10 to Washington, 14 to the Bears. They are playing well, and they've been playing well all season, especially right now. And listen, we all know who Aaron Rodgers is and all that, but if the Packers go on to some deep playoff run, it's going to be this defense. Their defense is legit, and I don't see them stopping.
Yeah. Aaron Jones is hurt, but AJ Dillon looked like he was going to do just fine for them. So
yeah, they'll be okay.
Moving on, we had the Eagles beat the Broncos. Go Birds, baby. 30-13. Like we talked about, it was actually a pretty close game back and forth for a bit. And then once that Slay fumble happened, it was basically ball game. So
pretty much, yeah.
So the Sunday night game, the Chiefs just decimated the Raiders 41-14. Looked like the classic Chiefs of old.
That was a get right game.
Mahomes looks like he's starting to get back to his normal self.
I thought the Raiders were going to have some fight on a national TV game at home with all the shit going on. I was wrong. They made me look foolish. They are dead in the water. That was an ugly game.
Yeah. And then Monday night, another ugly game. The Niners beat the Rams 31-10. The Rams are now 0-2 since acquiring OBJ and Von Miller. So
this one I think was the most interesting. So I wanted to take a second and get your opinion on this because honestly, they've been on national TV the last 2 weeks, so I've watched every minute of both these games. And I can honestly say in the last 2 games, the Rams haven't looked good for a single minute. Not a quarter or anything. I haven't been impressed with a single minute of football I've seen them play. And I think, man, when something's good, why mess with it? And now you're starting to think you brought in Von Miller, you brought in OBJ, you did all this. They traded away, I think, Kenny Young or whoever was the linebacker to the Broncos. But you didn't need to. You were killing it. Everything was going well. Now it doesn't seem like things are gelling anymore. It doesn't seem like this team is clicking on cylinders. This defense can't stop the run to save their life. The offense is hindered. I know OBJ was his first game, and they were very interested in getting involved. But, man, there are times you can't run a hurry-up offense because OBJ doesn't know the plays. I feel like they're trying too hard to – I said this before, this is the most all-in I've ever seen a team go in the middle of the season. But you don't really see NFL teams go big at the trade deadline because it's kind of hard to integrate them and become a team and make a nucleus. And I don't know. We're starting to see them struggle. Matthew Stafford is horrendous. He's made some bad decisions, but it's all over the place. Like Tyler Higbee, man, had horrible drops. He dropped a brutal one on 3rd and short that was wide open. He dropped the one that bobbled that was a pick 6 in the beginning of the game. This team just looks bad. There's nothing really to be impressed with this team. Their playmakers aren't making big plays and they're not stopping anyone. And they don't look like they did in the beginning of the season. They look like 2 different teams, and it makes you think, why mess with something when it was good? But, maybe they get it together. There's tons of talent. Maybe they come and get it formed together for the playoff run. But right now, the last 2 weeks, I haven't seen them look good for any portion of either of those games.
Yeah, it's Stafford always kind of went through these games where he would, streaks of games where he would play really poorly and then he would come back and play really well. And obviously the knock against him was always that he never was able to do much with the Lions, but it was always a go. Well, the Lions have always been bad. Well, now he's starting to play poorly, and I mean, I've always been a Stafford fan, so I think he'll rebound. But he has he has problems too, just like any quarterback. So they're going in a little bit of slump. I mean, I think they'll be fine. I'm not saying OBJ is going to be like the hero for them. Losing Robert Woods is definitely not good for them because
that you can't control.
He works well in that system. They still have Kupp, who somehow is the best receiver in the league right now, and they do enough, and their defense will be fine. So I'm not too worried.
It's a lot of change though. You brought in OBJ, you brought in Woods, you lost Woods, you brought in Von Miller, you traded Young. I mean, it's just a lot of movement for a team that was doing so good. That sure, who doesn't want OBJ or Von Miller, but at the same time, this team looked fine. I wonder if it's going to come back and bite them because they're, they get lost and, disjointed.
Well, they've given up way too much. They're basically at Super Bowl or bust for the season. So,
we'll see. Yeah.
So, studs and duds. This should have been an interesting week for you.
There was quite a few to make it interesting. But
what do you want to start with?
Hey, man, I'm in a good mood. We just had the best win all season. We had the best win all season, baby. We got to stick with the good stuff.
Okay.
All righty. So coming in for the third stud, actually just talking about this game, and he was pretty much an unstoppable force in whatever way he could get the ball. They were just passing it, running it, whatever they were doing. Him touching the ball was successful. Let's put it that way. He was a unit. And you said surprisingly Cooper Kupp's the number one wide receiver in the league. This guy surprisingly is looking at a top 5 wide receiver season right now. He's a force. Shanahan's coming up with plays to use him, and he is just he's a weapon in every sort of the way. And man, when he gets the ball, he is tough to tackle. So going for 133 scrimmage yards, more broken tackles than I could count, and 2 touchdowns, and just an absolute force. Mr. Deebo Samuel putting the hurting on that superstar Rams defense.
Yeah, Deebo
gets on that studs list.
I don't like the Niners, but it was kind of comical to see Deebo I think it was either after he scored or he had a big play. He was laying on the ground. He did like this the taunt where it's like a child when they like kick their legs up and stuff, and it was like he's literally playing with the Rams defense. Like this is hilarious.
Hey, you do that, and you wear you've got like a disco ball chain around your neck.
Oh yeah.
You got to be doing something well, and he was doing something very well. So, Deebo Samuel cracking the studs list. Moving on, second stud this week. I don't think anyone had a better week or was feeling better than this guy. This was the revenge game that no one was talking about, but man, it probably felt real good because he went and his team just bushwhacked his former team. And it must have felt extra good because he held his former team to a measly 3 points, leading that defense. And one that was, hardly, the unstoppable force that we've seen before. But team came out, get right game. It felt good to come into, bring his whole team in, see Matt Ryan on that sideline, and then just absolutely crush his dreams and hopes. Dan Quinn was smiling after Dallas crushed the Falcons 43-3. So, Mr. Dan Quinn, after what must have felt so good, you are the second stud this week. I honestly don't think anyone could feel better than how Dan Quinn was feeling. It must have felt so good. I'm sure that he got a lot of demons out destroying Matt Ryan from that Super Bowl. So that I imagine felt good. And I'm sure them running up the score had something to do with Dan Quinn wanting to get back at his former team.
Probably.
So Dan Quinn, my second stud this week. Moving on, another guy who had, moving on. You know what's sickening? I've had a number of Cowboys on the studs list. It's really getting disgusting. I'm putting defensive coordinators on the damn list now. It's just, ugh. But moving on, number one stud, a guy that is definitely no stranger to this list. We haven't seen him in a while. He's been frequently on the duds list a couple times. So more, magic of being on the duds list and revitalizing your season.
Okay.
Came out with a fury. Absolutely torched a division rival to the tune of 35 of 50, 405 yards. And then hold on, gas for me. Count along like the count does in Sesame Street. Not one.
Okay.
Not two, not three, not four. Oh,
not
hold
four.
On, out of fingers. Must have been 5. 5 touchdowns. in a
Sheesh.
beautiful game that was never close. 41-14, came into Vegas, crushed the doors, and left like a big old gambler hitting the jackpot, Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
The boy's back.
Yeah,
At least
boys
for
back.
now.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's looked real ugly. He's been on the duds list more than studs list this year, but he absolutely
Shocker.
deserved that. That was just he put on a beating on the Raiders. Wasn't even close. Those are the studs this week. So let's move on to the more depressing stuff.
Oh boy.
So this one was a tight game. My first dud, it was a part of a very tight game, and tight game that you can't help but to think if he only did his job, they probably would have won this game and probably would have beat a team that has been one of the hottest teams in football. He played so poorly. I had to Google him real fast before we did this to see if he still had his job, because I'm not going to lie, I think this was a performance that deserved for him to get cut the day after. It's never good to see a team lose by 2 points. It's especially not good to see a team lose by 2 points when their kicker missed an extra point. And then, oh my God, you might as well burn down the city if you lose by 2 points because your kicker missed 2 extra points. Extra points are extremely easy. This buffoon somehow missed 2 of them. And considering they lost by 2, you can pretty much circle him as the reason why they lost the game. So Mr. Brian Johnson, who I didn't even know who your name was or knew you existed before this week, the kicker for the New Orleans Saints, after missing 2 extra points, you can guarantee you that's going to get you on the dud list. So Mr. Brian Johnson is our first dud.
Cost him the game.
Yeah, that's you lose by 2 after you got missed 2 extra points. I would have cut him that night.
That's ruthless.
He's still on the team somehow, but I would have cut him that night. You got to be kidding me. It's not 2 field goals, 2 extra points. Moving on, we got actually a Super Bowl winning quarterback on our list here.
Oh,
Guy did something for the first time he's ever done in his illustrious career.
I forgot we were on the dud list.
He, it's the first time he's ever done this. I don't know if it's something to be celebrating or whoever wants to remember, but definitely ugly performance. Went 20 of 40, 50% is never a good completion percentage. 161 passing, and then 2 INTs to go along with that.
Any tutties?
But what? No. And you know why? Because that goes back into something he's never done before. And he's never put up a goose egg in any game he started until now. So,
really?
Mr. Russell Wilson, I hate to put you on the dud list after you came back from injury. And trust me, the only reason you're not number 1 is because I gave you a pass on coming back from injury, and the guy at number 1 was just a little bit worse. But Mr. Russell Wilson, you are the second dud on the list today.
Jeez.
Yeah, I mean, really ugly performance, man. Shut up.
That was what I was saying. I was like, he just didn't play well. Coming out, I had to have just been like adjusting to the game, and I mean, his receivers didn't really do any favors either. But
yeah, he's still. I mean, him and Carl preached that he was healthy, so yeah, you got to go off their word.
Metcalf out here trying to fight every single defensive back there is in the league at this point. So
yeah. Moving on to our number 1 dud.
Okay.
Moving to illustrious quarterbacks. This is a former MVP winning quarterback making the number 1 dud list. I gave Russell Wilson crap for going 50% completion percentage. My number 1 dud couldn't even do that. 9 of 21. He may have been a part of the offense that scored 3 points, but he also had no touchdowns. He had 117 yards and 2 interceptions, and just got absolutely dismantled. That's the only way I can really put it. Mr. Matt Ryan, brutal game. I know that one hurt him. That's one that, as a veteran quarterback, you would never want to leave the field in that situation.
Yeah,
I'm sure he had a rough week, and I don't think it's going to get better in this season. But number 1 dud, Matt Ryan. And I know the duds have been doing well of, getting on the list and then changing everything around quickly after. I don't see that happening with Matt Ryan. Maybe I think it's time that we talk about Matt Ryan and then getting the Matthew Stafford treatment in the offseason. Maybe it's time Atlanta moves on from him.
I don't think for a while.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get 3 first-round picks because I think they held on to him too long. I don't know what he's got left, but I definitely see him playing for a new team at this year. But Mr. Matt Ryan, you are my number 1 dud this week.
Jeez. You had 2 quarterbacks at the 1 and 2 spot, and I honestly, there was like a handful of quarterbacks that I could have guessed. That's how weird of a week it was for something. Like, I thought Brady was one of those, or Lamar. Like, there was some poor quarterback play this weekend, but
Oh, you're not wrong. I mean, shout out an honorable mention, I guess, but I'm a man of honor. I do my research and try to bring you good choices. I could have
Okay.
picked the low hanging fruit and gone with Mr. Mike White, who threw 4
Or
interceptions.
Mike White.
Trust
Yes.
me,
Like,
trust me, he deserved. But that's the low hanging fruit, and I give our listeners something better. I go out of my realm. I could put on kickers that no one's ever heard of, and put MVP quarterbacks and Super Bowl winning quarterbacks when they deserve it.
all right.
But that's the studs and duds.
Hard hitting facts.
That's
All
what I
right.
do.
Time for a little bit of too much whiz, which is appropriate because I'm fucking starving. I haven't eaten dinner yet. But so I'll start out with this one. Too much whiz. And we talked about this a little bit. The Rams are recreating the Eagles' dream team, and it will end just as miserably. Too much whiz.
Sure.
And by miserably, I mean they will not make the championship game or the Super Bowl, and they will flame out in the playoffs.
I'm gonna listen. I don't like what they've been doing by getting all these acquisitions in the middle of the season that they were looking pretty good in. But I'm gonna say too much whiz. I'm not buying that. I don't think the wheels are gonna fall off completely. And you know why? Because they looked good before the moves. They're 7-2. I mean, the Eagles never look good in their dream team season. They were 7-2. The winning recipe is there. I've seen them succeed. I think it's just going to take them a while. Do they drop a couple more games while they gel with all these new players? Maybe. But that's the price of making all these acquisitions. If Von Miller comes out and gets 2 sacks in the NFC Championship game and Odell's catching 100 yards in the playoffs, then it'll be worth it. But now they need to get the team to gel. And this is what they went for. This is what you make all these moves in the middle of the season. This is what you have to expect. It's a team game. They're going to have to gel. But I think that they still can turn this season successful.
Fair enough. Number 2, too much whiz. Cam Newton will be the Panthers starter for the rest of the year and into next season.
Too much whiz on next season. I'm saying not too much whiz on this season. I think he does finish out the year. Darnold's trash, and PJ Walker's probably more of a backup. But definitely too much whiz next year. I highly suspect they're going to be in on that Deshaun Watson talk. The Dolphins now just found someone to compete with them. They have an aggressive owner, new head coach. I think that they're ready to win. They understand they need the quarterback. That's why they made the Darnold move. They know that was a failed experiment. We all know what Cam is now. He went to a good situation where the fans love him, and he can sell tickets, and he's going to take his helmet off after scoring a 1-yard touchdown and scream it all he could and get away with getting a 15-yard penalty. But there's no way they go into next season with him as the starting quarterback. They will make a move. We talked about Matt Ryan might be available. Aaron Rodgers might be available. Russell Wilson might be available. Tua might be available. Deshaun Watson might be available. Then we're not even talking about the rookies. So I definitely think they're going to be aggressive and get someone next year, but I think Cam finishes this year as a starting quarterback.
All right. And my last one, and I'm going to put you on the spot. You got to be 100% in or 100% out. So Too much whiz as of November 16th, 2021. Your Philadelphia Eagles will make the playoffs.
You know what? I truly mean this. There's the top 5 teams in the NFC, and then it is anyone outside the Lions' opportunity at those last 2 wildcard spots. And I mean anyone.
Yeah.
I like what I saw at the Broncos. I'm in a good mood. If they beat the Saints, I would say we're a front runner for the playoffs. So I'm going to say not too much whiz. I'm in on the playoffs. I think that we are a playoff team. I like what we're doing. The last 3 games give me hope. I'm seeing a winning recipe, and I'm seeing them grow and get better. And I think we're going to continue to get better. If they lose to the Saints and everything looks horrible, then I'll be pretty pissed and I'll change this attitude very quickly. But if they beat the Saints, I will be even louder about the playoffs and banging that drum. Let's be honest. We have an easy schedule coming up. You get the Redskins twice. You get the Giants twice. You get the Jets. You got some bottom feeders coming up. I'm excited. I like where we're doing. I feel good. So I'm going to say playoffs, baby.
I mean, this is for you to answer, not for me. So I'm not going to give an answer, but I do think cop
out.
I do think they have it's not a reflection of how talented the Eagles are. It's a reflection of how, I don't even want to say how bad the NFC is, but just how like up and down the year is as far as like just teams winning and losing games they're not supposed to. I mean, right now they're 4-6. Looking at the standings, the only team, I mean, the Rams and Cardinals, one of them will have a wild card spot. So you're really fighting for only one spot, and that's the 7th seed. So they're they're behind the Saints and the Panthers. And then they're tied with the Vikings and the 49ers and the Falcons. And they beat the Falcons, lost to the Niners, so that doesn't help. But I between all of them, I would say I'll tell you Saints. I'll say the Saints, the Eagles, and man, I don't know what the Panthers, because their defense it comes and goes. It's really between, like, if the Saints fall out, then it's anyone's game. The Saints should take that last spot, but it's anyone's game.
Listen, and the whole thing is wide open. You got two playoff spots that are wide open, and like you said, the Saints are probably the leader. That's who you play this week. If you beat the Saints, I think that puts you in the front runner spot for at least one of those playoff spots.
Maybe. All right. Well, that's our too much whiz. Now to our power rankings, which from last week half our top five lost. Most of the teams lost in our power rankings. It's a wild week. So we'll start off at number 10. We have the Chiefs making it back into our top 10. Hopefully they will stay there for the rest of the season. We'll see if they're able to, repeat their success. Number 9, we have the Ravens falling back. Still a very talented team. They just dropped a really rough game against the Dolphins. I expect John Harbaugh to get that team to rebound, and they'll be fine. But number 8, we have the surging New England Patriots coming out of left field with a phenomenal defense and strong quarterback play from Mac Jones. So who would have thunked? Number 7, we have the Tampa Bay Bucks, losers of 2 straight. They got a lot of injuries to deal with. I'm sure they'll be fine once playoffs come around, but they are not the same team from last year for sure. Number 6, another team that's lost 2 straight. We have the LA Rams. I don't think they'll be the Eagles' dream team, but they definitely need to start getting some more consistent play going. It's Von Miller shouldn't be hurting your defense, and OBJ shouldn't be playing enough snaps to affect your offense yet. So these are problems that they're dealing with the team they've had all year. So we'll see. I think they'll be fine. I think they'll still. It depends on if Kyler comes back healthy. I still think the Rams could end up winning that division, but time will tell. Number 5, we have the Dallas Cowboys. Unfortunately, they are putting up a lot of points. Their defense is a lot better than last year. Dak's looking pretty good. So, and then number 4, we have the Cardinals, who lost a tough one without their star quarterback, but still a very good team.
Our entire offense, pretty much.
They should get healthy. They'll be fine. And Tim and I were talking about this beforehand, but there's really no bona fide team that's the best team in the league right now, or even each conference. But we do agree that there are at least 3 teams that are definitely the top 3 teams in the league right now, and that's the Bills at number 3. The Titans at number 2, and then the Green Bay Packers at number 1. They've just been the most. The Bills dropped the game to the Jaguars and lost earlier in the season, but these 3 teams have been the
Titans lost to the Jets earlier.
Yeah.
Happens.
Weird shit happens, but these 3 teams have been the most consistent. And Packers, again, they don't really. 17-0 isn't even really a blowout. It's a 3-score game or 2-score game and a field goal. So. But they've been doing this all season. They've just been, getting enough points to win. They're not really destroying people, but hey, a win is a win. So
that's true.
We'll see how the rest of the season pans out. And we finally beat the guest after losing 2 in a row. It was a terrible week, though. It was man, it was horrible. Poor Billy. What did he go? He went like 5-9.
The damn thing looked like my high school test with all the red marks.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
Jesus.
0 out of 10s. But so our guest picked Billy. He went 5-9, and then Tim and I both went 6-8. It's kind of funny. We keep ended up with like the same records, even though we have very different picks sometimes, but they like even out as we go through. Unfortunately, you're still.
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling getting back on this one. I've been getting too cute with some of these. So
the Lions was a bit of a stretch, but hey, they tied.
So, a stretch. It almost hit. My God. We all lost. There was no.
I wanted to bet that actually because it was plus. I think it was plus 6.5. I was gonna bet it and I just forgot once the game started, and I was like, oh shit. And then I saw they were winning in the fourth quarter. I was like, I should have bet. And they tied. So I don't know what happens when the tie, if you bet money line on them to win if they tie. Not sure how that works.
Probably
But
just push. Yeah.
anyways, so our standings are still pretty neck and neck. Unfortunately, Tim has the lead. He is 92 and 56, and I am 90 and 58. So I just need to get 2 games.
Century mark this week, baby.
I just need to get 2 games on you to get tied and then pull away. But all right, so let's get into it then. So starting off, we have, well, the Eagles are back on 1 o'clock games, but we'll get to that one in a bit. First game we have is the Patriots at the Falcons. Do we think the Falcons are going to rebound here? And just so we get that someone can get better picks here. We'll go back and forth on every game. So you pick first, I pick first. So you go first. Falcons, Patriots.
Yeah, you're talking about like arguably the hottest team or one of the hottest teams versus one of the worst teams in football. This isn't going to be too hard to pick. I'm going Patriots.
Okay. Another game, Ravens at Bears. Bears have looked not very good this year. Their defense started out strong and then they fallen apart, mostly because their offense is just terrible. And the Ravens need to win. So I'll take the Ravens.
Yeah, like I said, this week was kind of a get right game for a lot of teams. The Ravens, I think, need a get right game after that bad loss. I know the Bears are coming off the bye, but the Ravens had a long week coming off Thursday, so I think the Ravens win this.
All right. Next game we have should be a solid one. Packers at the Vikings. Who you got? Could be a trap game for the Packers.
It could be a trap game. And you know what? I'm going to take the Vikings. I've been preaching them as must-see TV.
You take the Vikings like every week.
Hey, Vikings did me well this week. Aaron Jones is out. I know Dylan's a fine substitute, but I think the Vikings are going to put up some points. I know the Packers defense is really good, but the Vikings can really score. So I think they win this game in Minnesota, maybe catch the Packers feeling themselves after a big win against Seattle this past week.
All right. I think the Packers are just kind of, this is where they're going to start cruising even more. They're just going to start putting teams away. I'll take the Packers here over the Vikings. I think it's going to be not as close as we think it will be. But next game, we got the Colts at the Bills. I will take the Bills just because I want the Colts to lose so we get a better draft pick.
Yeah, I think we passed the threshold where they're going to finish with Wentz for the rest of the season. So I feel good in rooting for them to lose. I do think it's going to be close, but Buffalo's on a roll. I'm going to take the Buffalo.
All right. The next game is the Browns and the Lions.
Man, I really want to pick the Lions really bad in this one. I do. But I think Nick Chubb's going to play. Kareem Hunt might play as well. I think the Browns defense alone will be able to win this game. So I'm taking Cleveland. They need a get right game after that humiliating loss.
Yeah, I'm taking the Browns as well. Next game we got is Washington at Carolina. Assuming Cam Newton plays, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of momentum, a lot of hype behind that. But I think Washington rides a little bit of a heat wave from the win or Tampa, and the best coach to go against Cam Newton right now would be Ron Rivera, his former coach. So he knows, best ways to stop Cam. So I'll take Washington here. Maybe I guess we could call this an upset, but
yeah, no, I actually agree with everything you said. I mean, everyone's on the Cam wagon right now, but let's be honest, Cam still stinks. Rivera knows Cam better than anyone else. I do think Washington keeps the heat wave going. I think Washington wins this game.
Okay, fair enough. I thought you would have taken Panthers, but
nah,
you're not as buying the Cam.
I'm not buying the Cam hype after 2 1-yard touchdowns.
All right. Next game we have the Titans versus the Texans in Houston.
It's actually in Tennessee, but I'm not wasting too much thought into this.
Oh, you're right. I lied. It is in Tennessee.
Look at you trying to change the home field advantage, trying to get in my mind.
Hey, the road teams have won, so I mean it doesn't really matter. But yeah, this I could see being one of those what the fuck happened games, like how did the Texans win kind of games. But I'm not willing to risk my pick record on it, so I'll take the Titans. Next game we have is the 49ers at the Jaguars. This is actually, this is kind of tough. I think the Jags have been playing really well. They haven't been playing well enough to get wins. And 49ers had a strong performance against the Rams. So, that's tough. I'm gonna have to go with the Niners. So,
yeah, you know what? The Niners look really good against the Rams. Defensively, they look good. They ran the ball really well. The Jaguars are getting more impressive. The Niners are traveling across the country, but the Niners, I think, are finding their groove right now. So I'm going to take the Niners.
Fair enough. Dolphins at the Jets.
You know what? I don't think the Jets are. I'm not buying on Mike White anymore. I thought he was the greatest quarterback ever after the first performance, but I think he's come back to the world. So I think the Dolphins win this one.
Same thing with the Colts Bills pick. I need the Dolphins to lose, so I'm gonna take the Jets. Talk it into existence. I mean, why not? I don't know. I don't know if the rookie's coming back or if Joe Flacco is going to play, but I think the Dolphins have been a weird team. They've been honestly, they've been the most disappointing team all year. They had playoff aspirations, so yeah, I'll give the Jets an upset win. Why not?
Fair enough. That's nice of you.
Then we got big game, Saints at the Eagles. The Eagles win here, and this is my pick. Eagles win here and prevent a because if they lose, it'll be confirmed they'll have a losing record at home this season. But like I said, last week I picked them, and I said if they win, I'll be forced to pick them the rest of the way. So here we go. I'll take the Eagles.
I'm just going to say this, obviously, because I've been tooting them up and saying I think they're going to the playoffs and all this. I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for everyone in Philadelphia because I picked the Broncos this past week, and I got to miss out on the fun of when they won. But I'm going to do it for the city. I'm going to pick the Saints, knowing that the Eagles are going to win.
You're going to sacrifice your record to make sure the Eagles – good luck.
Listen.
Hey, if it works, then you got to do it the rest of the way. I mean –
I'm doing it for the city. All I ask is they put my name on the Liberty Bell. Just chip me in there.
If the Eagles win, I will put this soundbite into a post, and you'll be famous.
I'm a modern day hero.
Yeah. All right. Then we got Bengals at Raiders. Both these teams are in a bit of a downward spiral right now. Who you got?
I picked the Raiders last week, and they embarrassed me, so I'm not falling for that again. I'm taking the Bengals.
Yeah, give me the Bengals off a bye to respond. They're still in this playoff race in the AFC. I still think they're a solid team. They just need to get some things right. So I'll take Cincinnati. This is wow. I'm actually having some trouble picking this game. Never thought I would say that. Cowboys at the Chiefs. My obvious thought is I want to pick the Chiefs, but I mean that Chiefs defense, they've gotten better, but they are still not good. And the Cowboys offense is like clicking. That being said, I will never pick the Cowboys, so I'll take the Chiefs.
Yeah,
even though I have picked the Cowboys, but I'm not going to pick them now.
The Chiefs play really well at home. They look to be back in sync after this past game. They need this game. The Cowboys can afford to go to 7-3 and lose a road game to the Chiefs. The Chiefs cannot afford to go to 6-5 and lose a home game like this. I think the Chiefs win this game. I'm going Kansas City.
Fair enough. Then we got the Cardinals at the Seahawks. Don't know if Kyler's playing, but
you know what? You could say this is a get-right game for either of them. Yeah. I think that the Cardinals are the much better team. Seattle's really got problems. I did not like Seattle's coming into this year. I'm going to say that Kyler and DeAndre Hopkins play. I don't really know the status of their injury. I don't really have any reason for that. I'm not giving you some inside knowledge that no one else knows. I just have a feeling. I don't know what it's telling you. But I think they play, and I think they win. They go into Seattle and win a big division game.
If my memory serves correctly, Russell Wilson's never had a losing season.
He also never had a shutout before. Things change.
So I mean, things change for sure. But I think give him another game. I don't think he'll play as poorly as he did. And even if Kyler comes back, he's definitely not going to be 100%. So I'll take Seattle at home. Why not?
Fair enough.
Then we got Steelers at the Chargers, Sunday Night Football. I don't know how the Steelers are 5-3. I think they're terrible.
5-3-1.
5-3-1. Yeah, you're right. Even worse. Chargers have been a very up and down team lately. I think they need this game at home. I mean, not that they have a home field advantage. They don't really have fans, but I'll take the Chargers here over the Steelers.
Yeah, you're right. They don't have much of a home field advantage, but Pittsburgh is still going to have to travel across the country. Really ugly game for them. I guess Ben plays. Missed this game for COVID. Yes, I would assume he's going to play. Still, I think Herbert does enough for the Chargers to win this. I do wonder about Najee Harris against that weak Chargers run defense, but I think Herbert does enough to beat the Steelers.
And then our last game, Giants at the Buccaneers. If this isn't, if this doesn't have get right just painted on it, then I don't know what is.
Listen, what do you need to hear besides the fact that they're playing at home on a national televised game? They are sure as hell not going to lose 3 games in a row, and we already know that Tom Brady, who doesn't like losing, loves to beat the Giants.
Oh yeah,
I don't see any way the Giants win this game. The Buccaneers will get right, and he's probably going to run the score up on them. I'm taking the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Bucs. I will say if they lose this game, major concerns.
Yeah, I agree. That's 3 in a row, and the
to not good opponents.
TV.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But all right, that's a wrap on. Pretty nice Eagles win. We'll see if spirits are high next week, if they can beat the Saints. And like we were talking about, it's a very winnable game. Saints their defense is really, really good. I'll give them that. But Trevor Siemian does not scare me. Hobbled Alvin Kamara doesn't scare me. I mean, he still scares me, but he will definitely not be 100% if he plays. So they'll probably have him in packages. And our run D has gotten a lot better, I think, because they've been blitzing more. They've been tightening up the coverage so that there's not as much open spacing. But I think they'll be in this game. I think it's going to be a good game. So we'll see what happens.
It's a big game. Like I said, I'm playoff front runners if they win this one.
Yeah, everyone's been saying the P word, so we'll see what happens. But
I'm for it. But till next time.
All righty.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Peace.